Welcome back to the channel for a special Christmas edition of Best of the Week, the very best comic books that you can buy this week. We've got a lot of indie comics, we got some DC, but no Marvel on the list this week, but DC had a very good week this week. We got Jim from Weird Science. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing great. Great. And it's funny because DC has a lot of books on the list. You're going to notice one missing, the biggest book. So at least they have some good things going on, though.
They had a couple other books that we could have put on there, but you don't want the list to end up being too big. But DC had the best week without a doubt. But we always start with the indie comics, so we'll start there once more. I really love this series from IDW. TMNT Saturday Morning Adventures #3. Eric Burnham, Tim Latte. And we get a fun little contained adventure. I love the idea that you can write comic books for kids and not write something stupid or over the top or have some type of social message in there. You can actually just tell a fun adventure story. Here we see that Casey Jones has been possessed or something like that. He's flying, he's going through the city. He's trying to take down jaywalkers with prejudice, and the TMNT Turtles obviously have to stop him. There ends up being like a Casey Jones signal and all that kind of stuff. I had a lot of fun with this comic book, Jim.
This book is always fun. And like you said, it's so great because it is an all-ages comic that doesn't dumb anything down. And the way that it's played out, because it really feels like the cartoon on a page, you just jump in and you don't need as much explanation of what's going on. So Casey Jones, he has electrical powers. He's pulling off the New York City grid, but that's all you need. And it's fun. And everything works in the dialogue. Is spot on. It's great. The humor's there. And this one really does poke fun at a bunch of things. You have mentions of Spider-Man with the Spidey sense and the bat signal into the Casey Jones signal. It's just hilarious. It's so fun.
Yeah, if you're a TMNT fan and you haven't been enjoying the latest offerings, you've got to read this. It's absolutely fantastic, especially if you love the cartoon from the 90s. Also coming from Image Comics, another kind of coming-of-age comic book that I really like, Rogue Sun #9 from Image. Ryan Parrott and Abel on here. There is a very good Spider-Man analog from AWA Studios in Erratic. This is kind of similar, but it's a darker take on this. Very interesting stuff here. Ryan Parrott really gives Dylan his first big L as a superhero, but not just that, he gets an L in his personal life as well. We got a big dance coming up. I think it's homecoming. He and his best friend need to get dates before the time comes. He goes and he asks the gal that he likes. He finds out she's already got a boyfriend, and then he gets his butt kicked. I really enjoyed this episode. He's been really building this hero up very well, and I think it was perfect timing for his first big L.
Yeah, and this is a book that, thanks to you, I am reading. Now, it was one like Erratic that I started on, kind of fell off, but the last time we talked about this, got me back in. And there's not a ton of issues, so it's easy to catch up if you haven't read it. But what this book does for me is really give well-rounded characters and does what a lot of comics like this want to. Even a Spider-Man will attempt to have that personal life and the superhero life combine, and a lot of times one of those two things gets left behind. It doesn't here, and actually both parts are equally as interesting and exciting and blend in to give you that big story, and a lot of the books don't get that balance well. This gets it almost perfect. I mean, it really does.
Yes, if you're looking for a great superhero that maybe you're not all that familiar with, Rogue Sun just started this year. We're at issue #9, part of the new Ultramassive universe, I guess, with Radiant Black, Radiant Pink. There's a few titles in there. To me, this is easily the standout one. You should be reading that one. We've got another Image title that Jim is very high on, Hitomi #3, HS Talk with Isabella Mazzatani.
I don't hear a lot of people talking about this, and really why I like this and why I put it on the list is I got a lot of shit the last time I mentioned a manga, and everybody yelled that it wasn't a comic. So here is one that if you are into manga, you can really get into, but it also has that classic, almost, again, Lone Wolf and Cub, maybe even the Wolverine feel to it, where you have a girl whose family was murdered, and she wants to become a samurai to avenge that murder, yet she's being trained by the Ronin that killed her family, possibly. That's the big play here, and you get a lot of things involved, but the characters, I think, are well done, and it really is a character-driven story, and the art, I think, is really good. I really like it. It's not a manga-style art, but it is a manga feel to the whole thing.
Absolutely. If you're looking for some manga options that are maybe told periodically or maybe with a little bit of color, definitely check out Hitomi #3. We're going to skip right past Marvel because there's nothing to recommend this week. Marvel just had an awful week. There's a lot of crap out there. Let's go over to DC Comics. They had a lot of quality stuff out there. Nothing better in my mind than Batman and Superman World's Finest number 10, Mark Waid, Dan Moore. We've recommended every single issue of this for a reason. We finally get the big culmination and conclusion to this big Boy Thunder storyline. The last issue, he was kidnapped by all the villains. He's being interrogated here by the Joker as Superman, absolutely desperate to find him, gets all the young heroes out on a quest to go and find this character as this interrogation is going on. We see Superman absolutely helpless, can't do anything. And when we get this enormous reveal that I did not see coming as to the identity of Boy Thunder. It's a character that we knew, but I don't think we were expecting to return to the DC Comics universe.
Oh, my God. And that's the thing. Obviously, we're not going to spoil that here. But if you end up getting this issue, you have to get it just for the reveal. I mean, you could go on and on about anything else that happens because the issue is really good. And I really love the idea of seeing what a really upset and frustrated Superman is doing, going a little bit beyond what he usually do, but still he's Superman, and having all the other characters involved. It's so much fun in a dark way, even because of Kid Thunder. And then when you get to the end, you're like, holy crap. Like, I didn't expect it. There's been few and far between deals where I don't remember the last time that my jaw actually did drop at a reveal. But yet then it kind of, when you think about it, you're like, okay, I get it. It makes sense even in a crazy way.
Mark Waid absolutely delivers the goods in that one. Another great comic book that has an absolutely different feel to it is Flash 789. Jeremy Adams, Fernando Passarin. Everything is so dark and serious in DC Comics these days. I love seeing a title like The Flash. It's a little bit more laid back, a little bit more easygoing. This is a fun adventure. We got all the rogues going up. We got the Flash taking off with a Pied Piper and then kind of coming back and discovering that the mayor of Central City is possibly hypnotized and there are bad things afoot and the rogues are kind of controlling the city and all that kind of stuff. Really enjoyed this one. I'm loving Jeremy Adams' run. A lot of people should be reading this, and it's unfortunate it's not one of the best sellers in comics.
Yeah, it should be. It's a great issue. And if you're a Wally West fan, you have to read this series. But even if, like you said, you just want something lighthearted, family-based, it's really well done. But it doesn't have that feel of trying to force you into, hey, this character's this guy. But it works when he does it. It actually works throughout this whole series where at the end, a lot of times things are solved by Wally and his family just loving each other, being nice people. And it really does play out well. And a big reveal in this. And the problem is that the World's Finest, you're never going to get anything that big. But there is a big reveal of what was going on behind the scenes. And it does feel like it's big. And this is going off to a kind of a Flash event after this. So anybody should jump on right now. You should get on. If you're not reading it and you're reading DC, there's no reason not to read it.
If you're not ready for 1 Minute War, I don't know what to tell you. We've been screaming from the rooftops. You need to be reading Flash. It's finally here. This will be a jumping on point, and we can support Jeremy Adams and hopefully get some of this amazing Flash to continue, because it sounds like there's a good possibility that it won't. Another series from Mark Waid out there that's leading into the big first, I guess, event at DC Comics in 2023, along with Dark Crisis, is leading into this dawn of DCU. Batman versus Robin number 4. Mark Waid, Mahmoud Asrar on this one. We've got a different take on Damian Wayne here, a little bit different flavor here, going a little farther than I anticipated.
And you end up, and the reason why I put this on here is it is going to be the big event. It's coming up. It's the big thing of 2023 to kick off the year. So I think that, get on board here, and you do get a lot of reveals. Some of it seems a little bit, quickly thrown in or kind of, but I still think it's really good. You get a bunch of things with Damian, and Batman gets real dark with that, and the art looks great. So I'm looking forward to Lazarus Planet with kind of a little bit of a worry, but I am looking forward to it. And I think that Mark Waid's doing the best stuff at DC. So anything that he writes is worth at least checking out.
Mark Waid is definitely doing great things at DC, but I'm a little more weary than you, Jim. I am event fatigued out. I've had enough events.
I know.
Event leading into an event to another event feels like a bit much. But that's not what this conversation's about.
No, I was going to start saying more things, but that's not what we're talking about. But yeah, I agree. But if you're going to get into DC Comics, this is the thing that's going to push things forward with it. And at least we can say that we're happy that Mark Waid's involved. because he has been hitting really well with most of the stuff that he's done. So I am going more into it in that vein, but I am a little bit event fatigue as well.
Another writer that's doing wonderful work, kind of returned recently, is Jeff Johns. He's got Stargirl, The Lost Children #2 with Todd Knock on art. It feels like Todd Knock really hasn't missed a beat. The man has been a top-notch comic book artist for a long time. Really enjoyed the way this comic book looks.
Yeah, and the comic book looks fantastic, and it is a story with Courtney. You have Emiko. They're trying to get these lost sidekicks from 50s Golden Age heroes, and the best thing about it is Knock's art, it fits 100%. There's a lot of times that art and story don't match. I know it sounds cliche, but it really, really does. You look at the book, it looks fun, and you're getting a story. It's a slow burn, but I'm interested in it because I think this is going to start building into more after this is done. This is just a mini, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But I do love Stargirl, and I do love Emiko, and you get to see I would love to call it the quiver, which it was called in Injustice, but you get to see the Green Arrow cave, and it's like the greatest thing I've ever seen. It looks just like a big toy box of just nonsense in it, but Knock just kills it on it.
So those are recommendations for the week. I do want to say thank you very much, and happy holidays. Merry Christmas to Jim.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you, Wes. I have 5 kids. They already got their presents in July.
Broke.
Oh, my goodness. They all barter and bargain for their presents before Christmas. So when Christmas hits, it always feels lame. It feels really bad. But that's what they do all the time. And me and my wife end up caving under the pressure.
As I mentioned earlier, when we were recommending The Flash from Jeremy Adams, it's looking like he may not be on that title for the long haul. There are other creators out there angling for that position, and DC Comics are really just screwing Jeremy Adams over right now. If you want all the information, the details on what I've heard behind the scenes regarding Jeremy Adams and The Flash, definitely check this video out because we need to support this guy. We can't have DC losing more good writers, and that may happen right here. If you don't see the video here, there's also a link in the video description.